welcome to another episode of SOO The Milwaukee Road. Today we're going to take it off the rails and hit the streets. And by that we're going to look at some trailers, a few pickups, a couple of cars, and the customization that I've done to vehicles. Since we do so much work on weathering the locomotive and freight cars, I figured why not take a look at what's kind of off the scene. In this particular case, we're looking at a pair of 45-foot trailers by Athearn. The bottom one was originally a Rio Grande 45-foot trailer that I dropped in and stripped it and then custom painted it. This trailer was actually from a photo. I based it on a photo that was provided by John Hill on the Railroad Archiver's website. And I worked off of those photos. He did a great job documenting the front, the back, the rear, everything in between to be able to at least get a nice accurate representation of this trailer. I put A-line wheels on the back. And compared to the top, you'll see that's just a factory Athearn wheel. And the A-line wheels are a nice wheel to be able to use. They got mud flaps that I've installed as well. And then the back, actually, when I paint it, I just scratch off or really wear down the high points to be able to give the detail that the back of the trailer has that you can see there. The top trailer really just kind of had some very light weathering. It's all factory otherwise. And we'll move forward here just to look at a couple of Trident vans. These two, the one on the left is factory, the one on the right is the custom painted version and detailed. And I ended up doing Walter Electric, which is actually a friend of mine's father-in-law that has a local electric outfit here in the cities. And I pay homage to that. He sponsored our softball team for a number of years, so I figured kind of a cool little tribute. But on the detailing front, all I really did is if you look at the grill, I blackened it in, I did the bow tie, I did the turn signals, the wheels, there's an antenna, side view mirrors. I noticed that one kind of got bumped when I took it out of the box, or opened the box, so that's on me. I definitely straightened that out, but you can see the antenna that's there as well. Now if you look at the wheels here between the factory version and the version I did on the right, all I'm really doing is wiping in black paint, and then I wipe it off and just leaves the black in the recesses. I think that adds a nice little detail. That's a little bit more accurate to the actual wheel in real life. And then on the mirror side, I end up adding Plano decals. I pick them up online or from your local hobby shop. Work out real well, just metal etched. It's a nice little detail to add. Speaking of details, this is probably the most detailed piece I've done. It was one of the early ones I had done. I did whip antennas. I did the little marker lights or the lights above the cab, as well as swapped out the light bar that's on top of the cab. For the one that comes with it, I believe the one that came with it was blue. And I actually cut it down and modified it for another project I was working on and put the clear ones on. I did the silver back end on the bottom on that sill. Just sprayed it silver with Testor's silver after masking the unit off. I blackened the windows, little silver access latches, and then of course I blackened in the wheels and then also did the grill. So a very simple little project. I kind of putzed around with it for probably an hour or two, and it came out quite nice. But dealing with kind of putzing around, this is kind of a hot-rodded version of a 1956 Ford F100. The chrome that I ended up doing around the windows as well as the wheel well is really just taking an X-Acto knife and scratching away the paint so it exposes the bare die-cast metal. And then I ended up clear coating the truck. Now the wheels under it are from a 1978 Impala that Classic Metalworks puts out with white walls already on them. Just kind of thought it ends up being kind of a cool little truck. Now if we move into this phase, I do have a number of these, they're Dazed and Confused C10 Chevy pickups. And the variations that I've kind of got going on here, this one's more stock. I just swapped out the wheels. I'm still in process. As you can see, the grill hasn't been done. But if you look at the grill that's on this one here, you're going to notice that it has been blackened. I did the bow tie, of course, and then the turn signals and stuff below. In addition to, I added the license plate. But if we look at the factory version, you see the bumperettes on there? Some have bumperettes and some don't. So it's I don't know if that was the manufacturer swapped those out. I believe the actual movie, they weren't there, so maybe they shaved them off after. This here is one I just had done. I thought, it'd be kind of cool to make a little bit more of a beater truck, not worry about the C10 that was on the side of the cab. It's shot with a red, cherry red metal flake finish. Has an antenna, blackened grille. The wheels are actually from a 1956 or a 55 Chev made by Malibu, is it the Malibu Internationals. And I just lightly scuff up the inside just by kind of twerking around a screwdriver or just even metal objects to be able to get it to look like that. All the trim package is again using that X-Acto knife technique where I just kind of scratch away and reveal the areas that I want exposed. And in this case I actually shot it with a Tester's flat dull coat, which gives it that kind of a look to it. You notice it's not shiny. Now this one here is that 56 or 55 Chev Bel Air that I ended up taking the wheels off of. The wheels that are on it are the ones that were on the original truck. So the C10 had those wheels, and I thought, yeah, it's kind of a hot rod look to it. So I ended up doing that, and I'm going to probably leave it that way unless I see another way to modify that particular Chev. Kind of like I did here, I did a gasser, and with that I got a smaller wheel in the front. That front wheel comes off a fresh cherry, and that rear wheel I believe came off of a fresh cherry as well. They're a little different diameter because that front wheel I think that came off of like a Civic or a Gremlin. And again I ended up doing the interior white. I did the license plate on the back. If it's not the factory version, I end up putting on a decal that comes from Microscale Decals. These are the license plates that I do. And they're very simple, very easy to be able to throw on. And you'll notice that again I've thrown them on these vehicles and it just adds that little extra something. You'll see the license plate down on the bottom. The wheels on this one are off of a Trident, just to kind of give it a little bit more of a kind of a beefy look. And as we move forward here, this one is a Walthers Ford that, I don't know, I was just kind of messing around with. I had a couple of them, and I ended up doing it white interior, shot it blue, did the wheels. The wheels originally are silver. The white bumper. It turned out alright. It's not amazing. Did the Ford on the back, and then obviously the top. Kind of a simple little upgrade. So we continue to look at upgrades. This is a stock version of the 1977 Firebird, again by Malibu. The things you notice in this one here is actually in the lights, they're just one big huge plastic light bar. If you don't go down into and look at the version I did, the actual car, it was blackened in those center areas. I also added that license plate. It is a T-top, so I removed the actual T-top portion. And I also silvered, just lightly silvered, the surface of the wheels on these. To look through a couple of before and afters, and in this case I kind of call that the old junker. Somebody that is kind of trashing their vehicle. It isn't anything fancy by any means. But same wheel package, just lightly blackened, all blackened one of them to make it look like they're missing their hubcap. Here we're looking at a Honda Civic. Same type of thing, just I swapped out the wheels. Those wheels are actually from, let me think here, the Monogram series. Not beautiful by any means. I don't like that metal pin in the middle, but I figure in the application of you don't really notice it that much from a distance. We'll call those like 10-footer cars. I did a light blue interior. The accuracy on these color combinations are not prototypical. I don't know. I doubt that Honda put a baby blue interior in a 1970s vehicle, but I kind of thought, you know, the 70s, we'll keep it interesting and kind of mix it up. This here, I added the white stripe on the side. Again, you're looking at Monogram wheels. This version that is here, that's more the factory wheel. I did also add the stripe there. That version is a painted stripe. This version's a decal stripe. And then this version is actually the stock without anything done to it. So you notice the wheels I've slightly blackened in this version to what was originally factory. Now the decals I've done is like this here. I end up doing the back white panel, which we can kind of look at on this one here. And I did a decal set for if I do a yellow one, I might do the black stripe with the white or the black back end. Those funny little shapes there are actually for Camaro, for the intakes on the hood. And then I also have done some custom decals. This is actually a tribute to a gentleman here locally in the cities, Howard Farr. He does a great job modeling, and one of the things he had done is a grain elevator. And I thought, you know what? I purchased the grain elevator from him, and I'm going to have this truck just servicing there. Right now it's holding just extra parts off of stuff I've done work on. But I figure, you know, Howie has done a lot of great things over the years, one of them being getting me kind of into the hobby by providing nice discounts at shows. When I would purchase 5 or 6 cars from him, he was always willing to give a little break. So I figured, why not have a little homage to him, and his cars can service that elevator that I had purchased from him. So I think that'd be kind of cool. Now what we're looking at is what I call the freaks of nature, and these are just hodgepodges, cars and parts that I've stripped things off of, and or a car that I might have picked up that was in disrepair. Same with this guy here. I've done a few other projects, and it's not done, but it's not going to be anything fancy. We'll call that a 10-footer. It'll look good 10 feet away, off in the distance. Somebody might be able to kind of laugh at it, but that's what those two cars are. And then lastly, I just have an overview of these with a few muscle cars. And the muscle cars that we've got here, this is a 1970 Cuda, the shaker hood, and the wheels on this are actually from a Burkina Taunus, I think is what it is, a Ford Taunus. And I thought, you know what, I like the dog dish hubcap. I'm trying to look for that steel wheel with the dog dish look. I did the vinyl top. Originally that was just this is an all orange car. My apologies for the focus on this. It keeps kind of bouncing out and acting weird with that orange. In the distance here, I just wanted to show you that is the monogram wheel that I was referring to that ended up on this particular car. I don't think they look good on any car really, but in an application that I'd be able to use them, I thought I have so many of these fresh cherries that I would be able to use that as a wheel. Now we're looking at a 1969 Olds 442. Again, I did the rag top. I did the rally wheels. Those are factory wheel that I painted red. Again, of course, I do the license plate. The car itself turned out quite nice. It's probably one of my favorites of these. And what I did is I just masked off the vinyl top, and that silver that you see around the windows, again, that technique I mentioned before, where I end up masking it off and then I scrape it with an X-Acto knife, and then I shot it in flat black. So it's a Rust-Oleum black, and it ends up making for a nice rag top. So both of those cars got that treatment. And then lastly, this is just a Ricoh. These cars are so nice just out of the box. I really didn't do much to them. You can see the antenna that I added, and then also I did my blackened in wheels. Sorry about the focus on those again. But such a nice set of cars that I'm going to continue to add to my railroad. Right now they're just sitting obviously in staging and are in a drawer, but they will make their way to the scenes that I eventually model. So thank you again. This is a little extended version of SOO The Milwaukee Road. I appreciate your time for watching, and hopefully you'll enjoy the next future episodes. Take care.